everyone, welcome back to DEAS Academy. My name is Trinity and I will be your instructor for today. We are going to learn how to plan an essay. This is the step you take before writing the essay. It is important to know how to properly plan because it makes the writing process a lot easier and tells the direction in which you hope to write your essay. So you might be asking yourself, well, where do I start? Here are the general items you include in your plan: your thesis statement, your supporting main ideas, or also known as your mini thesis statements, your evidence, and then finally your supporting arguments. The first step in this process is to identify your thesis statement. But first, let's figure out what a thesis statement is. A thesis is the main idea of your essay. It is also called the big idea. Its purpose is to tell your reader what you are trying to talk about in your essay. Usually, everything else within the essay revolves around your thesis. To identify your thesis, you should understand what the purpose of your essay is. It could be found through analyzing the problem you're trying to answer within the essay. Generally, this may be found in the prompt your teacher gave you to write this essay on. It becomes a little bit more difficult when you are not assigned a prompt because there's a wide variety of information to choose from. Write about what interests you the most and what you feel the most comfortable talking about. The next step is to figure out what your supporting main ideas are going to be. In a 5-paragraph essay, there will be about 3 of these statements. Similar to your thesis statement, your supporting main ideas or mini thesis statements tell the reader what each paragraph is about. They are also supposed to act as the reasons to support your thesis. For example, if we were to argue that mint chocolate chip ice cream is the best ice cream flavor, we would need reasons why. Those reasons will act as your mini thesis statements. For each supporting main idea, we now have to find evidence. This evidence will provide support to your arguments to make them stronger. If we were to think of a trial, these would be the facts a lawyer makes to support their argument. For some, this may be the most difficult part when planning your essay because you have to identify evidence that would be the most important to prove your point. Here is where you want to be very specific. There will be information that is less relevant to your point, which should not be included as a supporting detail. When figuring out if something is relevant or not, ask yourself this: how will I use this information to support my thesis? If you find yourself struggling to figure that out, it generally suggests that the detail is not relevant. You can also ask yourself, is this detail too broad for my topic? Does it start to talk about other things? If you answered yes, then you should look for another support or narrow down the quote you already have. A good thing to keep in mind about quotes in general is that it should never really be over 3 sentences. It should be to the point. That way you are directly addressing the thesis statement and supporting it. Our final step is addressing our supporting arguments. Each piece of evidence has to be explained so that the reader knows why that information is important and relevant to your argument. This is where you demonstrate, clarify, and discuss any significance the details have to your argument. You will make connections and show the reader why your argument is important or correct. The main issue people struggle with is telling the reader why the evidence is important rather than showing and demonstrating it. When making an argument, you want to prove your point, not just tell the reader what they should believe. Just remember, telling is when you describe everything in detail, yet never actually connect the evidence to your thesis. This can happen if you rely too heavily on over-explaining the quote. Showing is where you demonstrate this connection in a specific and thoughtful way. This is where you are direct and to the point. Now that we went over the components, you might be wondering how to exactly plan it out. Here are some examples on how to do that. I usually use these 2 because it helps me brainstorm in a clear way. I am able to see the direction in which I want my essay to flow, making it easier for me to actually start writing the essay. I generally start with a web diagram. It is the best way to start brainstorming. It helps you first develop your thesis statement and the mini thesis statements that go along with it. This diagram allows you to write your thesis in the middle and connect any other ideas you might want to talk about around it. From there, select the best points that will act as your main ideas for your body paragraphs. This other diagram sets out the plan for your essay. You can create this plan for each of your body paragraphs. It gives all the basic components of an essay in the correct order. This means when you actually start to write, all you have to do is rephrase the points and sometimes even just copy and paste. I like using this plan because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of writing an essay and usually cuts down the amount of time and effort required to put the essay together. I usually do this whole process before writing any of my essays. I use a similar format to plan out the introduction and conclusion, but we will go more in depth in another video. Well, guess what? Once you have completed these steps, you basically have the skeletons of an essay. Now all you have to do is assemble. Check out our next video on how to take all of these pieces and put them together to create a completed essay. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave a comment below or check out our website at deasacademy.com. Thank you guys.